Hey everyone, we are super happy that you've chosen to watch us today. This is the Melissa Taylor team. We've got Suze and Pearce. Hey Susan.
Hey.
Hey Hulshof.
Hey.
Hey Emily. And of course, well, me, I'm Melissa Taylor. And we've also got the man of the hour, who's Rob Townsley from Oriental Wealth. We're going to be doing these videos every week. Oh, sorry, Rob. You can say hi.
Man of the hour, man of 5 minutes is mine.
We're going to be doing these little videos every week. We're going to be concentrating on one tip for the first-time home buyers and one tip for the wealth builders every week. So keep your eyes out for these. Today, we're going to be talking about down payments for first-time home buyers. How can you utilize and enlarge that down payment? So we're going to be talking about RRSPs today. Rob, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the RRSP and what it is. So a lot of people don't know what an RRSP is. And what it is, it's a registered retirement savings plan. So the RRSP is a savings plan that grows tax-free inside the plan. So it's totally opposite of what a tax-free savings account does. And I know a lot of people have those. And the whole idea of the RRSP is you want to put the money in it while your income is high, and you want to take it out when your income is low, okay? So that's really the purpose of the RRSP. And inside that plan, like I said, it does grow tax-free, and that's where you get your growth, okay? So one of the things the federal government has done for the first-time home buyer is they allow you to take out up to $35,000 from the RRSP. So now keep this in mind too, because I didn't mention before, when I say RRSP, it has to be an open plan and not a locked-in one. So usually a lot of work plans and deferred pension plans, stuff like that, they're still an RRSP, but you can't withdraw money from it. So it has to be something that you've contributed to.
Can I interrupt you, Rob? Because
Sure.
I know that there's a lot of people, especially on the first-time home buyer webinar, that's going to be, what is an RRSP? How do I do it through the teller? Like, how do I start an RRSP? Where would I be contributing these funds?
Perfect. So there's a lot of places you can go for an RRSP. You can talk to a financial planner. You can do it at your bank or credit union, even insurance company. And even sometimes some work also does have where you can contribute to an RRSP. So the big thing you want to make sure with this is, obviously, if you're doing this for the purpose of saving for a home, you do want to keep the investment vehicle very conservative. So usually like a money market account or a savings account. You don't want to get too invested into the market and take the risk. The other thing you want to watch out for are fees. Like anybody else, everybody charges fees to do stuff. So you want to make sure that those fees are minimal when you are going in. I know a lot of people that I do the RRSP for, like I usually waive all my fees because I know it is for the purpose of buying a house and it is for a short-term, investment. Does that answer your question, what you're looking for?
Yeah, pretty much. For the time that you weren't glitching, I think we can build around that. So that's
Perfect.
awesome. Thank you.
Nice to know.
So you can either do it through, either do it through work, or you can go to the bank, or someone like you, a financial planner.
Yeah, financial planner, bank, credit union, and some employers do have it where you can do the RRSP, usually through an insurance company.
I have a question, Rob.
Sure.
So also RRSPs through like Wealthsimple and online robo investment, is that an option too?
Yeah, they're also an option. Again, just watch for the fees on those things. I know a lot of them also too, like it takes a week to withdraw the money out when you need it. So that can be another thing that's set some people back. So usually for something like a home buyers, you'd probably want to go more into a bank where you can keep your investment conservative, right? Like a bank or a financial planner. Whereas again, to Wealthsimple, it's not as easy to do stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, great company, but they're more for the long term, not for the short term. Okay.
Great.
All right. So just to give an example of what an RRSP could do for you, and I like to think of the RRSP as a down payment accelerator, because I've sat down with people before who have said, hey, you know what? It's going to take me 2 years before I get enough money saved up. But if you use the RRSP, you can really accelerate that, that speed. And a good example of that is, let's say you had 10,000 and it was sitting in your bank account or in a tax-free savings account, or maybe you had a gift coming or something like that. You could put that 10,000 into an RRSP, assuming you're at a 40% tax bracket. That would be a $4,000 tax rebate that you would get in the spring when you file your taxes. So you just turn that 10,000 now into 14, okay? And that speeds up. So you think if somebody had 20, now they're at 28,000. So it doesn't take long to really accelerate to get to your down payment amount that's required to purchase your first home, okay? Some things to keep in mind. The RRSP has to be in there for 90 days before you can withdraw it for the home buyer's plan. And you must be qualified as a first-time home buyer to take it out. The RRSP is to be paid back over 15 years, okay? So there is, obviously you're taking out, you're borrowing it, so you do have to pay it back over a 15-year period. The first year you do get grace, and then it's 15 years after that. And I highly recommend you consult a financial planner before you do anything as far as contributing. You don't want to over contribute. You want to make sure you're in the right one. You want to make sure your tax bracket is worth your while to do it. So there are some things you definitely want to research before you just jump in and go out and buy one. So make sure you do talk to a professional about that.
So I have another question here, and it says must be qualified first-time home buyer. Can you just talk about that a little bit? Because just because it's the first house I'm buying, I may not necessarily qualify, right? What are some of the, what makes me qualify?
So basically a first-time home buyer, relatively simple, as simple terms, and get into this on another one, but you haven't owned a house in Canada basically ever. That's sort of how it works. Now there is stuff in there where there's exceptions and timelines, but to be qualified, the first-time home buyer has to be your first home purchase. If you're on title of another home, obviously you're not going to qualify. If you co-sign for somebody, you're not going to qualify. If you owned a house in the last previous 4 years, you're not going to qualify. So, look up the speculations on, what a first-time home buyer is. There is a lot of rules behind it. But if you've never been in the market, you're definitely going to qualify. So, anybody that's just entering for the first time, they're definitely going to be a first-time home buyer.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So, yep. Does anyone else have a question?
No, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So just to sum up on this one, I think just knowing that this exists is going to make a big difference to people. We come across people all the time who have it shoved in a savings, and then you convert it over to an RSP. So knowing that's available and knowing the power behind using it, right? And always consulting either any of us here on this panel, or someone you trust who's in the industry, so that you are getting in the right one.
Yeah, and like I said, this is always about the conversation. There's so many people who have come up to me and said, okay, I'm just in the beginning process of saving for a house. I've got my down payment, but I'm still a little short. And then I turn around and take a look at all the assets and what they're doing. It's just a matter of shuffling things around. And the next thing they know, they're ready to buy in 3 months when they thought they were a year away. So it's just, it's a great program. It really kind of got forgotten when the tax-free savings accounts came out, just over 10 years ago. So everybody kind of went into that, into that sector and left the RSP behind, which is unfortunate because there is a lot of advantages to it. Okay, so RSP is not for everybody, but it does have a lot of advantages. So this is where you got to get educated, use it. Like I said, talk to a professional. It's not for everyone, but for most, it does work.
That's great. I think that's awesome. This is just going to be one of many tips that we do, and we're going to really zero in, like Rob did tonight, on each tip, so we know how it works. So thanks, Rob, for doing this, and thank you, Susan and Emily. It's awesome.
Perfect. Look forward to doing it again next week.